Hello, it is me, Trollcow. Welcome to the response video to Godwinson. I didn't intend I didn't intend it to take so long to get this out there, but I was ill and then YouTube was being annoying and slow, and so, yeah, we're here now, okay? So I didn't know how to respond originally, because what I was going to do is clip the video, reply it, clip it, reply, clip it, reply. But then I was like, no, because people are gonna say that I'm editing bits out, or that it's just essentially I'm copy pasting stuff, and I didn't know what to do. And I looked over the first response video I made, and I was like, yikes. Because it was literally too clunky and it wasn't dramatic enough, and I knew this sector would have a fucking problem with it. I knew that everyone was going to be like, Trollcow, that's so boring, give it your all. You can't burst into this sector talking about your thyroid. Ugh. So I redid the whole thing, okay? And that's why there was a bit of a delay, because I didn't like the first video. It wasn't sector worthy, and I knew what the response would be. And I'm going to be honest, I read my Kiwi Farms thread. Not obsessively, but when it gets an update. Because you want to know what people are saying about you. That's kind of normal. I feel like it's more weird if you don't read it. You don't have to care about it, but sometimes I read it. And I take a lot of the stuff said about my videos into account, not because I'm letting it bring me down, but because that is where I'm going to get the rawest of criticism from. Some of it's obviously just going to be fucking bullshit, like schizo bullshit from that Chantel's person who thinks I'm like Jeffrey Epstein or something. And some of it will actually be like, okay, criticism. And a lot of the people were saying my last video was kind of boring, and I get it. I really get it. And I'm trying to improve. But the thing is, I have held myself together to not seem like fucking insane for so long that when I made that video, I was still very much in the don't spurg out mentality. So when I originally did this response video, I looked at it and I was like, this is boring. So I'm redoing it. Right, for those of you who don't know the law, Godwinson's channel is linked in my bio if you want to see what he's about and stuff. Long story short, Godwinson was making some streams on the, let me get my vape. That was a close up, sorry. He was making some streams on the Chud Buds leaks, okay? And I found it funny, and I was watching his videos and I was in his chat, his stream chat, and I use my real name to do this. I go in as Trollcow, and the reason I do that is because I don't want to, I'm a spurg, and if I sock, there is a fucking 0% chance I'm going to get away with it. And I feel like most people, though, wouldn't, because after a certain time frame of someone being around on a sock and being active, people are going to start to wonder who the fuck it is, okay? And then you're going to end up like Chris X and exposed as 3 different fucking accounts. And that's embarrassing. And it's inevitable. I know that I'm a bit of a spurg and that I'm going to get caught out. So I decided to just use my real alias and account and talk in his chat. And I think after a certain period of time, he became aware of me, mainly because of this other person he'd mentioned in a video who goes by Cowboy, and a bunch of Kiwi farmers who are complete schizophrenics, frankly, making up conspiracy theories that I was grooming this person simply because they fucking atted me in public all the time. And that person went by Cowboy, R.I.P. Cowboy. He lasted about 2 minutes in this sector, and Godwinson made a video, well, not a video, but he added to a video he made, a little thing about Cowboy, and then he noticed me because Cowboy was sort of hanging around me, or orbiting, to put it that way. And I'm pretty sure people were sending him messages you do know who Trollcow is, who this person in your chat is, right? And so eventually he asked people on Twitter who I was, and he then decided to make a video on me. Now, originally I was fucking terrified because I am legitimately, I just expect at this point that anyone with a modicum of a following in this sector is just going to instantly just reel off a list of stuff that other people say. Because I mean, Josh kind of set the fucking precedent for that. In the sense that it seemed like as soon as he had written me off as a gullible schizophrenic, everyone else decided to just go with it. And Godwinson made a video that honestly, I was really like pleasantly surprised by, because mainly because he did something that I haven't seen done in relation to me before. He didn't bullshit the whole time, you know? He made observations and comments on things that were like there. And he didn't need to lie like a lot of people in this sector seem to do. And I respected that and I liked that. And I needed to hear some of the things he had to say. And it was the nicest way or the most constructive way of giving me advice that I actually needed to hear. So for those of you asking why I'm not going full-blown scorched earth, it is because I agree with the things he said. And and I want to go scorched earth. I want to save that for people that I really fucking dislike, you know? Like, there are a few people I can think of for my scorched earth series. But Godwinson told me stuff that I needed to hear. And I didn't know how I was going to respond to it. Because originally, I kind of just started clipping the video, responding to bits. And I was like, no, this isn't good, because people are going to, like, ask me why I'm not clipping. It just seemed all a bit, you know, it just seemed a bit clunky. So I decided to do this a different way. I wrote down, because I'm truly fucking autistic, all of the rules that he gave me. I was just checking that the label on here wouldn't somehow dox me and it wasn't from like some super nearby store. Anyway, sorry. I wrote down the rules that he gave me, and rather than responding to like every fucking bit of the video, which is what I was doing originally, because the other thing that people suggested is I flip the camera and do what Godwinson does and reply to it, like by flipping the camera onto another device, all of that stuff. I just knew that it would take fucking ages and there'd be technical difficulties and it just wouldn't work. So I decided that the bits that I did clip that I am going to reply to are each of the lessons that he gave me. He told me to write them down. So I wrote them down. Maybe I took it very literally, Godwinson. So we're going to reply to what I think of each of the rules he gave me. And yeah, but bear in mind I'm new to this. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, and I'm nervous. I am not gonna obviously do my best. Well, not do my best, but I'm not gonna be, you know, I'm not gonna be as, I don't know if this is gonna be what people want to see, because I'm literally learning as I go along here, like Claire Bear and programming. So I am doing my best to make, to sort of like, you know, make something entertaining and also respond to it. And so the first thing I want to say is I really, for the most part, agree with all of the stuff he said. So like I said before, I know that there are some people who wanted me to come out here and to like, I don't know, fucking IBS Godwinson or something. But I really cannot, because I agree with the stuff he said and it just wouldn't be productive for me. Because the stuff he said was stuff that's been like really helpful. So we're just going to respond to it. And this is like honestly the first like video like this that I'm doing. So I'm really like, don't know what I'm doing yet, but I'm going to learn. And if this fails and if this is complete fucking shit, please bear with me. I'm learning. I feel like I'm not trying to be low confidence or anything, but I am fully aware that I don't know what I'm doing here and I'm new to this kind of stuff. And so if you do have constructive criticism, I would appreciate it, because usually I have to read it in my Kiwi Farms thread. So, okay, let's get into it.
Lesson 1, Elaine. Take it from the king. If you are going to engage in this shit, don't reply to the post naming you with your own account. Lesson 1. Always make sure you send a capo in. If you're a woman, you can send a simp in to do it for you. Never use your own account. Sock it the whole way fucking through. Never use your own account. Lesson 1. Write this down for fuck's sake. Because this one, Elaine, is purely for you.
Here's the thing. Didn't have a gator then. And so I didn't really know how to approach it. I was thinking of pretending to be my own gator in true psycho fashion and going in there and being like, Elaine would like to talk to you. But then I was like, no, that's more schizo. So my general attitude has just been that the better thing to do is to just come in there as myself. And I know that's not really the done thing now. But at the time, I thought it would be worse to do a Chris X and to come in on like a sock or to send someone in for me and have it cocked up, right? Like, I wanted to, you know what, I'm sort of the type of person where, like, if I'm going to say it, I'm going to say it with my chest and with my full being. And so my attitude was sort of just like, you know, go in there, say your piece. And, yeah, I next time I will send Rasmus in to do it for me.
Next lesson. Don't suck up. Don't suck up. Even if you're a female, you've got to realise, Elaine, that females in the sector, they overestimate their own beauty. They overestimate the fact that because they have a vagina, men will flock to them. But the men you're attracting are like insects. They're insect men. They're relegated to literally being on the other end of your Discord chat, simping for you like insects. Lesson 2, Elaine. The flattery don't work on true kings of the sector. I mean, very rarely would I even read shit like this.
Yeah. The thing is, I do truly like your content, Godwinson. It was just, I feel like in general, women like making a compliment on the internet in this sector, it doesn't go to plan. I remember when I was complimentary of kiwi farms for like 2 minutes, and everyone was like, she's just trying to get better treatment so that she doesn't have people being mean in her thread. And I had Josh being like, she's only nice to us because we're men, and she's rude to Trollcow farm because they're women. And it was like, no, I just liked this place. But it doesn't come across right, you know? It doesn't come across right because there is always sort of an assumption that you're trying to sort of manipulate or get better treatment, even if that's not your intention. Even if you're too autistic, like myself, to do that, it doesn't come across right. And I know that now.
Don't sign your tweets off with your real name. If you're going to commit to the Trollcow, commit to the Trollcow.
Yeah, no, I don't know why I did that. I don't know why I do most of the things that I do. But I guess I just assume that people are going to, like, reply to me with my real name. So I kind of just do that, which is stupid. I need to stop doing that. I'm going to stop doing that. But I suppose my attitude before was sort of like, get them before they get me. And if I just like prove that I don't care about people using my real name, that I don't know, okay? I'm a fucking spurg.
Lesson 3, Elaine. Any accusation that's fired at you, however outlandish, you don't do this. You certainly don't respond. And you certainly don't do this. I don't lie. That's gay. Groomed? Fair enough. Fair enough. Fuck. Groomed. Fair enough. Has leaked videos. You forgot to include the fact that literally none of them were actually me. Oh, fuck. Bunch of deep fakes / OnlyFans girls with my voice pasted over the top to try and...
Yeah, you're right. the thing is, it's like, I feel like I always say to myself, like, in my head and to other people, like, don't give in to people that don't give the, what is it? Don't take the bait from the trolls. But the problem is, I feel like, I'm just going to say it. I have just the autistic urge to correct people. And I need to not do that. And I've learned now to just not say anything. So like on Twitter, whenever I say anything, my lips are dry, sorry. I have people like obviously bringing that up. And before, I always had the urge to sort of like, you know, correct it. Because I felt like, you know, you don't want people saying that kind of stuff about you. It doesn't make you look good. It makes you look crazy. And I felt like if I didn't correct it, that it wouldn't go away. I had like a tilted view where if I didn't tell people the truth, then it would circulate to people who didn't know me, and that they would just have, that was their first impression of me, you know? Do you get what I mean? I know that you shouldn't reply, and I know that now. But like at the time, I was convinced that if I didn't say anything, the people who didn't know who I was, that were seeing stuff like that for the first time, would take that verbatim, you know? And so I've been like caught between, do I correct it to people who don't know me and are going to assume that all of that stuff is true, and do I just stop taking the bait? And I've kind of like learned that the latter is better, especially since watching Godwinson's video. But like, if you get what I mean, I sort of just, I don't want that to define me. And the thing that's changed, sorry, I'm trying to get my words out. I'm hella autistic. I have ADHD. It's not the same thing, but whatever. I've been trying to sort of like realize and to learn how to handle that. And I realized that when you do reply to it, you are giving them what they want, and you are taking the bait, and you're making it more of a thing. You're magnifying something by replying to it. But until then, I sort of just thought that if I didn't correct it, then it would make it worse, because more and more people would be seeing that, and people who didn't know me would be seeing it, and they would never have my side of things. So I just had this like urge, this like compulsion to sort of just correct it every time I saw it. And not because I felt like I wasn't like consciously taking the bait, but I just didn't want, I don't know, I just didn't want that to be something that people actually believed, I guess. But I feel like now I've sort of realised, and I don't know how I didn't before, that when you replied to it, you were making it more of a thing. You were driving it into your law in a way you wouldn't if you just ignored it. But yeah, I agree. Thanks.
Lesson 4, Elaine. Lesson 4. Hashtag own cardinal sin. You don't do this. You don't hashtag verbs if you're gonna try and be queen of the sector. After I refused to send the catfish my nudes.
That was cringe of me. Nothing else I can really say. I feel like Gretchen in Mean Girls, when Regina was like to Gretchen, stop trying to make fetch happen. That was so cringe.
The whole aim of this, lesson 5, the whole aim of this, of them getting you to spiral out and say, it was deep fakes, it was hashtag own, hashtag catfish, hashtag my nudes, is so that you go on to post your nudes with your face in to prove it's you this time. That's lesson 5.
Yeah, part of me thought that might be what's going on. I feel like there are some people who are saying it just to sort of like get me to spurg out. There is a lot of like baiting going on, but there are people who I very much get the impression just want me to like go out there and be like, well, here's my actual nude, so now you know it's not me. But that is essentially something that I've realized people are doing. I suppose I didn't realize it before because I being a spurg, I didn't really, sometimes it passes me by how people work, and a lot of it is just kind of manipulation tactics to try and get women to sort of like defend themselves by essentially posting their actual nudes, and that is something that people have told me is going on. I guess I didn't really think, I thought a lot of it, in my opinion, a lot of it was baiting, but there are some people who I actually now realize probably did want me to do that, and that obviously would be catastrophic. So yeah, don't give in to trolls who want to see your tits.
Have the disciplinary for anorexia. Lesson 6, Elaine. When you're clarifying, if you feel you have to, don't clarify twice. Once should be enough. Twice makes you look guilty. Twice makes you look like you're lying. Twice don't look good. Not a good look.
This is something that people have told me I do. I over-explain myself, and it isn't really, I know it makes you look guilty, and I know that even if you're telling the truth, that's what it looks like, but it's just sort of, I don't know, it's something I need to not do. But I guess I over-clarified because I'm kind of spurgy, and like, I word things weird. I always assume that I have to say it like twice for people to understand what I mean. Because people seem to like struggle with that. I feel like, again, this kind of leads to like, this kind of relates to point rule 3 or 4, which is to kind of just not take the bait, really, and not, you know, not having to sort of clarify and constantly defend yourself. But it's something that I've sort of had, like, got into the habit of doing because I've had to do it so many times. I feel like my entire sort of like duration in this sector has me having to correct the narrative and be like, no, that isn't true, this is true, this isn't true, because I'm kind of just so used to being like lied about. But I feel like it definitely fucking makes it worse when you're replying to people who kind of are very clearly baiting you, or who essentially want you to like prove yourself. But
Lesson 7. Learn the law. Learn the fucking law. Because what this is referring to is the names of witches. This is what the Godwinson Kino Dogme 2007 labels the witch class. Gator has Lilith features. Angie's crafts. She's an evening. But maybe you both have a connection. Matthew Hopkins, remember those days? Sinister Hand of God is a schizophrenic. But even the schizophrenic knows the law. What he's referring to here is that...
yeah, learn the law. Should have done that. This is going to lead into point 8, which I have some commentary on. But yeah, I don't really know my witch lore. Now I do. I kind of find it funny that there was a schizo comparing me to witches. Maybe it's accurate. Maybe I am.
Lesson 8, Elaine. Don't tie yourself in with Vordrak. Don't tie yourself in with Vordrak. He might be right about Josh. He might want to drink Josh's blood like yourself. But he's also nuts. This is a pretense. Look, this is a pretense. This is a show. This is a character. This is a performance in the true spirit of the Kino Dogme. Vordrak, it's no character. It's no performance. That guy's genuinely unhinged. But apparently tied in with Vordrak as well. Oh, fuck.
Now this is something that is like, okay, I don't really know how to phrase this. So with Vordrak, the thing is, I feel like people, God, I'm going to try and be like completely brutally honest here. I really feel like people overestimate how obsessed he is with Kiwi Farms and Josh and all of that stuff. I think that it is safe to say he is obviously obsessed and really despises Josh on the website. But I feel like there are actually people that are way more obsessive, for example, on Onion Farms and Lolcow Farm, who are almost worse. I just think the thing with Vordrak is that because he's like been doxxed and they know who he is, and because, you know, of the whole Dynastia thing during Gamergate, I don't know if you guys know that, but he essentially got like a court order against an anonymous poster called Dynastia, who went by Dynastia on Kiwi Farms, and is basically theorized, or not theorized, but stated in court that if Dynastia is ever like doxxed or they find out who he is, then he owes Vordrak £10,000 in defamation like charges. I think that's what it was. And I feel like, as sort of like big of a deal as that is, what I'm trying to say is there are people that have done kind of more crazy things. I think the difference with Vordrak, and I hate to say this, he's effective. There are people who hate Josh who don't seem to do anything other than post his stuff. But we all know that if people like Haru had the ability to do what Vordrak did and, you know, get Ethan charged or something, which is what Haru is trying to do, by the way, then, you know, they absolutely would if they were able to. And I agree that Vordrak should have focused less on Kiwi Farms and Josh in the past. I think that it sort of became almost like he became the Batman to the Joker, or the other way around. I don't know which way around. And essentially it just became this like ongoing feud. And I think that some of the things Vordrak has done are over the top. But what I'm trying to say is I feel like the general view on Vordrak would definitely be different if people were to realise that most people, most A-logs in this sector would do what he did if they could. And I'm just going to say it how it is. And I think Vordrak recently, in recent years, has been a lot less obsessive over it. And I don't think he is that way anymore in terms of sort of like how focused he is on it. But and there are things that he has done which I didn't agree with, such as how he handled the Fibre Hub thing. And I've told him this. I've said that to him. But I don't think that he is as crazy as people make out. I think, and I have to say it, I have to say what I actually think here. He hasn't done anything too crazy to me. I'm going to be honest, because I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, yeah, you're right, he's crazy, he's been that way to me. Maybe he has to other people, but he hasn't been that way with me, so it's difficult because I don't have that perception of him. He does go to extreme lengths, and he does really go at people that he doesn't like. Like, you can check his website. He does put his all into, like, internet wars. But what I'm trying to say is, to a point, I think that, again, what I've said before, I don't think that is all that different from other people. I think that he is just very, very, very focused on it and actually has results. And because he has got things like, you know, people charged in court, or people doxxed, or people dropped from internet hosting providers. I think people think that because the results of his actions are like extreme, that he is way more extreme than most people. But I actually don't think that's the case. I think the situation is that he is persistent, and it does come across as nuts sometimes, and I get that. But he hasn't done anything that, to me, that I would be like, fuck, I can't associate with him. And I'm just gonna, I get what you're trying to say, and I get your perspective on that, but I'm just trying to say that, like, in my opinion, I don't believe that he is as bad as sort of people say he is. I just believe that he's very effective with his goals, and that gives the perception that he's like kind of nuts. But in reality, I think a lot of people would do the stuff that Vordrak has done if they had the capability. Like, are you telling me that Haru wouldn't charge Ethan Ralph $10,000 in court if he could? Like, you know that he would. And I'm not saying Haru is a great example or like something that we should all aspire to be. I'm trying to say that the mentality of most people in this sector is Vordrak's. It's just that he's actually managed to sort of do the things that he's wanted to do. Whether you agree or disagree with his actions, is he really that much more crazy than a majority of people in this sector? That's what I'm trying to say.
Lesson 9, Elaine. Oh, fuck. I shouldn't have to impart these lessons, but if you want to be queen of the sector, you got to listen to the king. How do I describe myself? A catfish made deep fakes of me. I'm friends with Vordrak. I'm enemies with Kiwi Farms and Lolcow Farms. I make YouTube videos. Claire Bear wants me dead. I'm the only cow to be banned on Kiwi Farms. I live in the UK. I'm hated everywhere / everyone. Now, this actually wasn't what I needed.
With Intuit QuickBooks, Debbie can see her finances in real time, so there's no surprises.
We had to get a family dog. It's supposed to socialise the kid or some shit. But here we go. You have the makings of a good intro, of a good promo. The ingredients are there, but it's just lacking, Elaine. It's lacking because you present yourself as a victim first and foremost. You present your allies above who you are, really. There's nothing substantial here. There's nothing to get them to fear you, to elicit a response that's anything other than whoa, what the fuck? The real way you do it, Elaine, you let your titles precede you. You let the fact that you're the Primarch of Cow, you're the Shogun of the Neat Samurai, you're the King of the Kino Dogme in this sector. You let the fact that you are there purely to attack, you are there to present half-truths, purely for the sake of entertainment, to mix fact with lies. You are there purely to drink another man's blood, be it at all fucking costs, because no half measures. The Kino Dogme 2007 is something you invent as a bullshit moral compass, as a moral code to let you do whatever the fuck you like with impunity, to let you do streams like this, to let you get fucking Gator on your case saying, oh, he should learn OBS, and use that as a tool to go, what a fucking peasant pleb, because he doesn't understand the bullshit code of ethics that I made up 5 minutes ago. You get him to go, oh, how do people watch Godwinson? He doesn't use OBS. They watch me purely because I don't use OBS. I don't need OBS to do this. I'm perfectly able to cut a promo without reading aloud a super chat or having a dancing pudding go like this. Ad infinitum. Have Ricata deep throat an invisible peanut. Gift on a loop. I don't need that. And it makes them angry. Gator says, Godwinson reads his Discord DMs on his Nokia phone camera.avi. You get Gator.
I've always sort of had this like habit of sort of like trying to wind the bad stuff in, which, yeah, I shouldn't do that. But the reason that I used to do that, and don't anymore, because I'm trying to learn, is because I feel like the reason I did do that is because it was kind of my weird way of trying to like own it and desensitize other people to it. So I felt like if I just said the worst things about myself first, that they would be less shocking to people, which is like an autistic way of thinking. But like, what can I say? I suppose I didn't have the confidence to say the good stuff, to say the whack shit that I've done. Like, because I've done some psycho shit, some entertaining, respectably psycho shit, but I didn't have the sort of like confidence to sort of come out there and be like, fear me, fear Trollcow. These are all the things that I'm known for and that I'm proud of. I didn't have that confidence because I'd for a year straight or 2 years straight, all I'd heard are those things. The things that I mentioned there, the deepfakes, being friends with Vordrak, lolcow farm and kiwi farms hating me, those are things that had been said to me so many times that I started to say them about myself, which isn't good. But I suppose I really did just need someone to come out and say, don't let these things sort of like precede you, because they aren't things I want to be known for. I'm going to be honest, that's not who I am. But the point was that I felt like if that's what people are going to say about me, I'll be the one to say it about myself first. Like, I suppose it was, what I was trying to do is take the things that people always say about me and say them before other people could say them. Again, it was very much the get them before they get you thing. And it's not that I had like I was really insecure, that I had really low confidence. It was more that when you hear people say the same things about you 24/7, after a while you start to try and, either you internalize it, which I didn't do, but I suppose I looked like I was doing. But what I really was trying to do is wind them into my sort of like blurb or like storyline. I was trying to sort of be like, oh, here's all the psycho shit that people say about me. I guess that's who I am. And it isn't. But I needed to hear that it wasn't, because what I was doing was kind of just echoing my threads, which is like obviously not a good thing to do. But I suppose I assumed that I guess I really honestly just thought that maybe if I said it myself, other people wouldn't say it as much, which is stupid.
You get Gator to felt himself in his response to the Kino Dogma 2007, because they don't understand it. It's a pleb film. This, Elaine, and the way you need to do it, you need to filter them out. You need to get the Gators of the world to be completely tilted at what you're doing. You need to literally get them to go, he's using Discord and reading Discord DMs, as the guy himself is guilty of using Discord and using Discord DMs. You get him to label your supposed crimes with his own behaviours. You get him to misplace the brand of phone and you get him to use a low effort, whatever the fuck this is, and you make him felt himself on his 7,000 follow Twitter with 4 likes, because Gator is 4 things. The way you do it, Elaine, you don't present yourself as a victim. You don't use the fact that others have done unto you as your calling card. Your calling card should be, you're an unhinged, crazy, psycho bitch. No half measures. You don't give a shit who sees your snatch and who... You don't give a shit who sees your snatch and what simp of the week is out there running defense force for your ass. You're unapologetic. You don't need to give 2 shits about whether or not someone's your friend. All you need to do it for is for the service of the entertaining showmanship value that making a spectacle of yourself will bring. That's all that matters, really. If you really do have what it takes, you'll be here in 11 years' time as well. You'll be there to impart it onto some other fucking mentally ill fop. Some mentally ill, whippersnapper who thinks they've got what it takes. Because really, the secret ingredient, and I'm pretty sure you already have this as well, you've got to be really fucked in the head to go the full 9 yards.
From now on, I will be an unapologetic, psycho, unhinged bitch. No half measures. Again, like I said before, I got into the habit of sort of like trying to reiterate the bad things people said about me to try and own them, and then I realised that I was making that who I was, which isn't who I am. They aren't who I am. So from now on, we're gonna reinvent Trollcow.
Lesson 10. If someone's going to go to the effort of making a thread on your ass, take it as what it is. It can't be changed. You can't go back and sweep up history. You can't write emails to the owners of the boards where it's all hosted. You can't write DMCA requests or any shit like this. You just have to roll with the punches. Just roll with the fucking punches. Because ultimately, you'll be reading this shit as fervently as your #1 detractor. And if you're wise about it, if you're really truly fucking wise about it, you'll realise that, bizarrely, what was set up there to get you to blow your brains out, to get you to neck yourself and slit your wrists or some shit, will actually bring people together. Will actually bring a community of speds and spurgs together. Unite them under one topic. And if you're narcissistic enough, which I believe you truly are, you'll appreciate this. You'll appreciate this for what it really is. Eventually, if you actually make content that's good enough, one of the benefits of having something like this that was designed to destroy and kill you is seeing that board change. Is seeing it literally go to your favour. And the only way you've truly won them over isn't because you've cleared the record and said it was deep fakes or OnlyFans thoughts or whatever that... No, the only way you'll truly win them over, you'll entertain them. You'll bring them joy. You'll make them laugh. That's the way you win them over, Elaine. So lesson 10, if it's there, roll with it. If it's there, certainly don't. Hang on, this is the later part. But certainly don't. Why'd you have to show the most trash of all the threads? That one was literally the most garbage, unfunny one. Well, you know what? We'll be the judge of that.
Learning to, let it roll off your back. It takes some time, and that's something that I'm learning to do. I feel like I'm still looking at the rules. That's what I'm looking at, the rules that I wrote them down. I've learned that it's true. You can't really win people over by sort of fixating on your thread, because you're just drawing more attention really to what people have said about you. But I'm learning to sort of like separate that from my brand, like from like my online persona, to put it that way. And that's like, I think that's an important thing, is that it's kind of very easy to let things in your thread, or to let things that people keep fucking saying, you know, it's easy to sort of like end up being the one that's saying it, like to end up saying what they're saying about you as your introduction. And it's obviously, when you get a thread at first, it's a bit of a fucking shock, right? Because I was quite literally just some fucking random Instagram fake influencer chick trying to sort of like, I didn't really want to be in the spotlight, but I'd put myself in there, I suppose, because in real life I wasn't really this massively fucking confident person. So the internet was my sort of like, my thing, really. And I put myself in this position, sort of like not really knowing what I was getting into, and I ended up sort of like with hundreds of people commenting on my every move, and didn't know how to deal with that. So I sort of got into the habit of just sort of being like, this is garbage, this is unfunny, trying to sort of like essentially downplay what other people had written. And part of that was by reiterating it myself, to almost desensitize the people to it, which isn't the play, it isn't the move, but that's what I was doing. And it's taken me a while to sort of just be like, you know what, fuck them, like fuck what they have to say. They're obsessed, they're obsessive. A lot of these people, they spend more time watching whoever they're critiquing than we do watching them. But from the way I was responding to it, you wouldn't have thought it, because I sort of became obsessed with downplaying what people were saying or critiquing it, which gives them way more fucking credit than they're due, gives them an ego boost, really. If you're replying to your trolls constantly, you're sort of validating what they're saying in giving them attention. And that's something that I have learnt to stop doing.
You don't say your thread's the most unfunny one, because what this looks like, it looks like you're trying to sweep it up. Don't look over there. Because you know what this does? It literally does make people want to go over there.
This very much relates to my previous point. It does kind of look like you're trying to like sweep it up by telling people don't look. Because that makes people want to look. Like, no shit. But what I was trying to say is it was like the worst of all the threads about me. Like, it was the most shitty one. But again, it does have the effect of making people just want to read it, which I probably should have taken into account, but I'm a fucking spurg.
Bonus lesson. Class this as 10A or some shit, Elaine. Try and stay in character. No matter how funny shit that's coming up is about to get. Just try and stay in character. You shouldn't have to like show your genuine laughter, really. Okay, so
that's sort of one of my biggest takeaways from the video, which is kind of to just separate your persona online from who you are. Because I always consciously would say to myself, like, you don't want to mix the two, because you'll end up sort of like, you know, you're going to end up like Gator or like Josh, where you haven't been able to separate your online identity and what people say about you from like who you actually are as a person. And that's something that like I was very much falling into. Yeah, you gotta stay in character.
Lesson 11, Elaine. The schizos are coming. You've opened the floodgates. And trust me, take this from fucking me. Lesson 11. Never read your DMs. Because every single one of these people is a schizophrenic fucking out of their fucking tree psychopath. Every single one of them. Right shit like, you should give stand-up a try. Yada yada yada, I'm a schizophrenic. I'm out of my fucking mind. Every single one of them. This one, by the way, all becomes gun. All becomes gun. Look, yada yada yada, I'm a crazy ass loony. Look at this shit. Look at this. If you need any deets on anything or got questions, let me know. I'm good. I'm real good. Because this shit, and it's not just all becomes gun. It's not just all becomes gun. All of them just talk to themselves. Every single one of them. And there's more. They're all like, what the fuck does that mean? What does that mean? You go, right, maybe there's some esoteric message to boot. Maybe there's some esoteric message to boot. You go on to what's a Margarin growl? You're like, I'm fucking terrified. I'm genuinely afraid. Because if you read your DMs, Elaine, especially your open DMs, you will realise that you're only doing this to humour people that are purely fucking mentally ill. You'll realise that what you're doing, even this video, will probably be someone's last. They're not out there in their last moments calling their families or writing something coherent to leave behind. They're watching shit like this.
Yeah, no, I learnt this lesson actually straight after I watched the video, and I opened my DMs. I did the thing that I shouldn't have done because I was curious, but I didn't reply to them. There was someone in my DMs who legitimately was like, I think I might have posted this on my Twitter before I got suspended, but they literally were like, I have information that can get Adam Godwinson arrested. And when I was curious as to who this person was. I didn't reply. And I went on their fucking profile, and the entirety of their Twitter was like the weirdest shit I've ever seen. Like pure schizophrenic shit of them literally saying stuff like, I don't even know how to fucking reiterate what they were saying, but they had all these insane conspiracy theories, basically along the lines of Godwinson is the Illuminati, and he something to do with Milan, left his kids in Milan. I don't even know. Or Manila, I don't even know what the fuck it was, but it was very obvious that that person was one of very many fucking insane schizophrenics in DMs. And my general attitude before was sort of just to like reply to everyone, which is probably not the done thing because it got me into a lot of shit. Like I had people saying that because I was responding to like Clint Neatwood, also known as Cowboy, that I was therefore grooming him. And it was at that moment that I feel like I realised that responding to these people, it never goes well. It's kind of a self-own. It only ever really backfires because most of these people are not fucking, they're not sane. And I'm not saying, not sane like that, but you know, we're all a bit fucking mentally unstable and insane in this sector. But they are the type of insane that interacting with is kind of like infecting yourself. They are sort of parasitical. They're like an infection. When you interact with them, it sort of just feeds the autism, really. And so I suppose for a while, my attitude was to just reply to everyone because why the fuck not? But then after a while, it you know, it gets to a point where like you're replying to people who are, again, just kind of just off their rocker, and there's nothing good that can come of it. They're never going to be able to sort of like give you anything of value, or, you know, you're not going to befriend these people, right? So I suppose sometimes now I'll screenshot them and post the DMs because they're funny. But for the most part, I have learned that replying to these people really doesn't do you any fucking good. I think in general, on that point, getting involved in sort of like deep in DMs with people that you don't know, that you haven't seen or heard them, is generally not a good thing. I learned a lot from fucking Discord. I still have Discord, but I've learned how to use Discord in a way that doesn't ruin my life. But essentially, you end up in situations where like they sort of know everything about you and are like watching you intently, and they're kind of insane, and you don't really know who the fuck that person is and how fucking off their rocker they are. And you end up in situations where you're kind of just surrounded by like fucking parasites, like, I suppose. And so, insects, as Godwinson would say. And so like I've kind of had to learn how to filter out the white noise, the garbage that I shouldn't be interacting with. But I suppose I was in a position where like I felt like I wasn't sort of like, I felt like I had to reply to people or it would be rude or like it. Fuck that, you know.
Lesson 11, Elaine. Don't read your DMs. Don't respond to your DMs. And certainly don't send your DMs any means of further communication with you. Don't.
Yeah, I feel like I said everything I had to say in my previous like point, but like I feel like I've very much learned by now not to send randoms my contact info. That's been a thing that consistently fucking backfired throughout my entire fucking presence in this sector.
Lesson 12. Anyone who ever comes at you will be reading shit from your thread. They'll be posting pictures from your thread. They'll be using it as thumbnails in the videos to come at you. They'll be quoting Haru as if it's some sort of gospel truth teller and not a massive faggot. They'll be literally just reading this. Any documentary, if you're honoured enough to get one, by some spurg pretending to be a penguin or gator or whatever faggot comes along to drink your blood. They'll all be reading this. They'll be going through it. They'll be going, look at this. Look at this BPD bitch, they'll be saying, as they read it aloud. Lesson 12. Longest lesson of all. But I'm going to give you it now, and we'll explore it. We'll explore it together, you and I. You got to make sure that the law drops water off a duck's back. You've got to make sure you're desensitized to parts of your own life. You've got to make sure you're completely desensitized. You've got to treat this as a completely different person. If you don't, you will literally end up blowing your own brains out. Or you'll eat yourself to death like PPP. You've got to make sure you divorce yourself from this. Don't lose yourself in the music. Don't lose yourself in the moment. Don't mom spaghetti this shit. You gotta really fucking desensitize.
Okay, I agree. I agree with like basically all of these points. But it is important to desensitize to it, but also I think it's interesting. That is not propped up properly. I think it's interesting, the point about divorcing your sort of like self from the things that are about you. That is something that I'm learning to do, because otherwise, you're right, it will quite literally make you blow your brains out, because essentially you're internalizing the things people are saying, and you're not really, you know, you're not giving yourself the credit of being your own person. You're kind of just relying on a bunch of spurgs really to fucking write your story for you. And that's something that I've absolutely learned to stop doing. I just kind of needed to hear it because I didn't know how I should act. But I'm going to say all of my final points in my outro, which I'm doing now. I'm trying to like speed so that I get this uploaded in time because I really don't want to let people down again. I'm fucking sorry, okay? We're going to do like a quick 3-minute outro because this is going to take a long time to upload because it's an hour and a few minutes. So I wanted to say that I feel like a lot of the takeaway is to sort of like, to be your own person, not get infected by parasites and insects, but also to kind of like learn to divorce yourself from the things about you, because I feel like that should have been obvious to me, but it wasn't for some reason. And think about it, if everyone that had stuff about them, like for example, celebrities decided to just internalize everything, every scandal, every article about them, they would be a wreck. But essentially, I needed to hear it from someone else because I didn't know how to be. I didn't know how I should present myself. I didn't really know the rules. I now have them written down, all 12 of them. But I didn't really have a guidance or anyone sort of like advise me in such a productive way on how to do this shit, because I essentially was basically winging it in this sector, didn't know what I was doing, didn't know how to come across, didn't know if I was doing it the right way, and I needed someone to tell me or to advise me, and that's what Godwinson did, and that's why I'm like not doing the whole IBS scorched stuff on Godwinson thing, because I agree with it. Now, I am going to go scorched earth on other people, and that's coming up. We've got the scorched earth series. There is going to be the response video to Cahool, which should be a week. I'm trying to do a video a week. Trying to do it like that. Which, I don't know how I'm going to do that yet, because I don't have the rules sort of like structure to go on there. But basically, long story short, I really found it helpful to have someone just flat out fucking tell me or give me some guidance or structure to this shit, because for a long time I was kind of just assuming, I was kind of winging it and really just thinking maybe if I just like, you know, work off what people are saying about me, maybe that's how I should present myself, maybe I should like work myself into the mold people have tried to put me in, and that's obviously not the way to do it. So I did take note of everything that Godwinson said. And I know people like to think that it goes in one ear and out the other, that I'm not taking anything in, but I actually am. And it's not going to be instant. I'm not going to be like the most based queen ever instantly, because I've sort of like, you know, you get into the habit of not doing things the right way for a period of time. And I've had to learn to sort of undo that and to listen to the lessons that I've just showed you, and it's going to take me some time to sort of like undo or like write over old habits. But long story short, I really appreciate what Godwinson said, and I like his content. I think he's funny, and the stuff he said was really good advice, which is why I can't do the whole scorched earth thing on Godwinson. But essentially, yeah, that was probably the most helpful thing that someone has done for me in this sector, because a lot of people just seemed like it felt like, you know, that I wasn't doing things the way I should be, but I didn't really know why or how. So that was something I needed to hear, and something I'm very, very grateful for. So thank you, Godwinson, for your rules. I have written them all down, and I'm going to absolutely take note on them and act on them. Thank you all for bearing with me. Sorry about the long upload time. I'm sorry about the clunkiness of my content in general, like my videos, everything being slow or like not being up as quick as I wanted it to be. That is gonna be, hopefully I'm gonna speed that shit up once I sort of like, you know, get my footing. I know there are people saying that I sound really autistic and that I'm stimming or whatever. I'm a bit fucking nervous because I'm new to this. I don't really know what I'm doing. But anyway, thank you all for bearing with me throughout all of that. Thank you, Godwinson, for your lessons. Hopefully the haul video will be out within like a week. And then after that, we're gonna do the Scorched Earth series, and I have plans for that. Yeah, I think I've said everything I need to say. And yeah, that was so awkward. Anyway, stay tuned and subscribe, or don't.